everybody. Welcome in here to Mile High Sports. Thank you so much for tuning into our little pregame show here at number 38. I am Ryan Blackburn, host of the Pickaxe and Roll podcast here at Mile High Sports, joined by a very cromulent guest over on the other side. The king of Thornton himself, Jeff Morton. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I had to explain what cromulent was to both producer Danny and Ryan. Danny, I don't think I explained that it was The Simpsons. That's a Simpsons reference.
I guess so. Did not know, but clearly a funny thing to come in and be like, "Hey, how you feeling, Nuggets fans?" Cromulent, because perfectly acceptable. Sure, because I had to go look it up. We've got a very interesting moment here in this series where I don't know about you, Jeff. I gave Denver basically a 5 to 10% chance to win the game in game one. I thought that it would be closer to a blowout. I thought this would be a situation where effectively, you don't have a ton of viability. You don't have a ton of situations where you feel like it's going to go well after a full series of 7 games. And then game one comes around just a couple days later against a team that had that much rest that is that good. And then OKC kind of showed their youth. They showed and Mark Dagnall kind of showed his youth a little bit in some of those situations at the end. Just how surprised were you that the Nuggets won that game? And should Nuggets fans have been surprised?
Yes, because they had no earthly business winning that game. That was a colossal series of mistakes by Mark, very specifically by Mark Dagnall. And then Chet Holmgren ends up biffing away the 2 free throws, and that sort of thing is just it's one of those things that happen in the playoffs. And I said this on CSG podcast, the Mortcast today.
Yeah, baby.
We're distracted that the end of the game is
at this current juncture. The Knicks are currently up 1 with 24 seconds left to go in another improbable comeback against the Celtics.
It's incredible.
I can't believe that they're doing it again.
I bet my dad's going nuts. So come back to the Nuggets. It is like. It's one of those things where there's no give backs, right? You're not giving back the fact that they won.
Yeah.
And I think that you learned a couple things because the Nuggets stayed in it. See, unlike what's been happening with the Knicks, who got up to a couple 20-point leads, Boston did over them. And with the Nuggets, that only got up to 16.
They kept it closer, right?
And then for most of the end of the third into the fourth, it vacillated between 10 and 5 points. It just kept bouncing up and down.
I didn't think that Denver was going to be able to get over that hump. And I thought that OKC at some point would just break it open. They would use a turnover or a 3 and then a turnover, then another run out dunk or something like that.
Right.
I thought that would ultimately be the end of it, but Denver just kept fighting back, and their resilience was clearly on display in that first game. Very, very impressive game from them, and a very, very impressive game from one Nikola Jokic, who finished up the other series, and I think it was kind of subpar based off of his expectations, off of the expectations that he has set. But what an incredible moment for him, and what an incredible moment for the Nuggets as a result.
It was interesting to watch Jokic just decide that, one, he's not getting anything from Jamal. He's not getting any. I mean, Jamal was trying. He was doing other things, but the scoring aspect wasn't there.
Yeah.
He wasn't getting a lot of score. Well, he got nothing from Mike.
Yeah.
And Mike wasn't in for basically all the second half.
Yeah.
And what happened was 18 points in the fourth quarter is special, regardless of how you slice it. And he got his fair share of 3 free throws in that quarter.
Yeah.
But 18 points in a quarter is really, really special. And I think that's kind of the thing you like with a superstar. Only superstars are able to do that. Guys who are able to turn on the gas like that and say, it's winning time. And he really showed what that was about.
clearly a very impressive performance from him, and one of those that the team absolutely needed in this moment, an exciting moment for them. Folks, we are here at number 38.
We are
very excited to be here, of course. This is an awesome moment.
We're in the studio this time.
And we're kind of we're in this studio space. It's a good looking camera, I would say.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of giveaways that I'm very excited about. I know you guys miss our good friend Kentavious Caldwell Pope. He's had a tough year in Orlando, but we still love him here in Denver, and he's signed while he was a champion with the Nuggets. So if you're interested in coming on down to number 38, then there are some potential giveaways here. But
my Nuggets colored glasses are not being given away.
No.
But the old Nuggets. This is the Mellow era. This is the this is what happened back in the day. But those aren't for.
No, we are not giving away the Dan Issel basketball. Unfortunately,
we are not giving that away.
That's not this is an ABA basketball. Insane.
It is.
But just a very exciting moment for the Nuggets. And if you guys want to enjoy the moment together, then make sure to come on down to number 38, where we got a nice place here. Got a nice studio spot here. You can come down, check it out, get some prizes, things like that. Yeah. I just had the chicken Parmesan sandwich.
How was it?
It was unbelievable.
Really?
No, that is not hyperbole. It was delicious.
They make great food here.
Yes, 100%.
Fantastic food, and they also have Mile High Sports branded drinks.
Yeah.
So if you come on down, you can try out what Mile High Sports has to offer in terms of drinks, and I might try the seltzer that they have here. So you never know.
It's a pretty tasty one. I've had it before. It's very nice. Okay. Very, very nice.
Good.
All right, back to the Nuggets here.
We need a branded whiskey now.
Well, we're one step at a time, Jeff. One step at a time. We need a branded root beer for me first.
Branded root beer.
Yeah, yes. that would be pretty sick. Oh, closing minutes here, closing seconds here. Tatum gonna. Oh.
You hear it. There's a lot of Knicks fans in here, like they're right outside the door.
Jason Tatum gets blocked at the buzzer in the rear view. I don't know what he shot.
Let us explain what's happened. Okay. That is 2 series where the home team lost both opening games.
Shout out to the Eastern Conference, man. Shout out to the Eastern Conference.
I said it on the Mortcast today. I was talking about it. The first time I remember that happened was 94. Houston and Phoenix.
Yeah.
And that was one of those series where the road team won the first 4 games.
Yep.
And I don't think that's happened since, by the way.
Insane. Just insane moments of Jason Tatum. Let's look up the numbers here. 13 points, 5 of 20.
Oh my God.
5 of 20 for young Mr. Tatum.
Oh, that's a J-Dub numbers.
I was just gonna say, this is and so can I go on a little rant for a second?
Sure.
In terms of there's a lot of Celtics fans that feel like Jason Tatum has been short shafted by the national media in terms of the why isn't he ever in the MVP conversation? Why isn't he ever the best player in the world conversation? He's got the title, he's got the belt, he's got the guy, he's the one that you would expect to be if you're on the last person standing. And then nobody acknowledged that because it's pretty clear that Jason Tatum's not the best player in the world.
Right.
It's pretty clear that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. Everybody and their mother knew it.
Right.
And it's just been hilarious to see people trying to give away that title to anybody that they decide is worthy enough. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was another example of that, I guess.
Oh, yeah. No, but Shai at least had one of those scoring years that tend to win MVP.
Yeah.
So I'm more okay with that than the Embiid year.
Oh yeah.
Honest with you.
By the way, when I went back and looked at the numbers and what numbers people expected would actually be determinant of MVP, Embiid was in zero class, zero reason to ever be in that conversation. I cannot believe he was gifted it by Kendrick Perkins.
That was some serious BS.
Malarkey. That's a Simpsons reference.
Yes.
That's a bunch of malarkey. That's not a Simpsons reference.
That's not, but
that's okay. It's old. It's old. Everything is old to Ryan.
It's old to Ryan, of course. That's amazing.
Let's transition to game 2 now.
Okay.
Actually, well, first let's talk about Aaron Gordon really quick.
Yes.
Aaron Gordon deserves some airtime here because the 2-game winners that he has now hit are two of the most, like, they've led to two of the most improbable wins I think we've seen from Denver in a while, where Denver didn't really have any business winning a game where you had to throw up an air ball at the buzzer and for it to be tipped in with like a fingertip like away from potentially losing that series and losing it pretty early. And then you've got the game 1 in this last game where he has turned himself into an extremely reliable player, an extremely reliable option for Denver in these moments that, hey, if Jamal Murray's getting bottled up, if he's being attacked by the litany of OKC defenders, Aaron Gordon doesn't have a tough matchup on him right now. It's pretty reasonable to think that he could be getting open on a consistent basis, and he's going to be somebody that the Nuggets will continue to rely upon in this moment.
And he's found that extra bit of energy that he didn't possess most of the year, and that's because of his injury.
He played, 45 games, somewhere around there?
Yeah, and it was you could tell he was struggling. He was struggling with his brother's death. It's been a terrible year.
Of course.
Terrible year for him. And for him to step up the way he has in these playoffs with just the way I describe it is that he's just been gritty AF.
Yeah.
And that is something the Nuggets need, especially when you're coming in after you just fired your coach. You just fired your general manager. No one's expecting a lot of this Nuggets team coming into it. And that grittiness and his ability to basically come up clutch in 2 huge games is absolutely incredible. You can't put a monetary value on that kind of thing that he gives to a team.
You know what's interesting? Those are the 2 games where Jokic gave it all, where you could see Aaron Gordon, and I think Aaron Gordon could see Jokic giving it all, and then picked up his buddy. Because
that was Jokic's best game in the Clippers series.
Exactly. So kind of interesting that those kind of line up, those 2 moments for AG specifically. So good for him, and Denver's going to need more of it going forward in this series just to get out of here. But it's still very early, and I think Nuggets fans have gotten they're a little bit too far over their skis, I would say, on this series, just because of how this felt in the moment, and like despite everybody's telling you how improbable it was, including me. But there's a reason why that was. There's a reason why it was so improbable, and I do think that it's going to be a challenge, especially tonight, to be able to reclaim and maintain that energy and that consistency against this team.
We just witnessed another team winning another road team winning another game.
It can happen.
And the Celtics legitimately are the best team, or at least we thought were the best team in the NBA. They kind of dispatched the Orlando Magic in their first round.
Yeah.
And this is something I want to this goes into game 2.
Sure.
The Thunder did not face any adversity other than that coming back from that big lead that Memphis had in game 3,
which was pretty impressive.
Was very impressive.
Not going to lie. Like, they can do it.
But Memphis,
There's
a difference. They're not Denver.
Well, there's a difference between facing, and also John Morant got injured in the middle of that game.
Yep.
So I think there was a reason for them to believe that they could come back from that one. Whereas with Jokic and the Nuggets, I think that there is at least a world where they're not sure. Right. They're not sure of just how good they are when you have to face the best player in the world, somebody who's physically dominant, somebody who can pick you apart with his brain just as much of his skill. It is going to be interesting, I think, to see how they respond, OKC, because I think as young as they are still a team that won 68 games. They've only lost 2 games in a row twice during the entire regular season. Like, it's extremely notable to me. They do a good job of flushing it and then moving on and being better the next time.
I don't have a ton of expectation that the Nuggets will win this game, to be quite honest with you. Okay. I think the Thunder will go and do everything they possibly can to make sure the fate of the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics doesn't befall them.
Yeah.
So I think that is going to play into the way and how hard they play. And they're going to try to hit the Nuggets with everything.
Yeah.
Because I said this once again on I keep referencing my podcast. Go to
Jeff
CSU
has a podcast, guys. Did you know?
CSU podcast. Go check it out. I keep referencing this. This is why I don't have complete trust in the Thunder, and didn't have all year, despite their gaudy record and point differential.
Yeah,
they are heavily dependent on more dependent on getting transition turnovers than I've witnessed in years in the NBA. I've never seen this, and their offense in the half court is Shea and a bunch of guys you don't really trust all the time to score,
and especially when Jalen Williams goes the aforementioned 5 of 20.
He did the Tatum.
He did the Tatum.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy. That's a big 12-time Tatum right there.
Yes, it is.
Shout out to my guy Ben Golliver, who I saw at Game 7. That was a good interaction for sure. It's always going to be interesting to see how a young team responds to adversity.
Right.
Denver went through that, but it's funny, they went through that 6 years ago. It's
right.
kind of funny to think back on it. OKC did go through it last year a little bit too. I don't want to dismiss what they did last year. They also lost then, but is it possible that they still have some lessons to learn, still have some things that they have to figure out?
Right.
Yes. Is it possible that the Nuggets aren't the team to be teaching them that lesson? Absolutely. Yeah. They could still get through Denver, to be clear.
Yeah.
And I kind of expect them to get through Denver tonight in a very much a response kind of home game where, yes, you're right. They are very focused on turnovers. They are very focused on just trying to make it as difficult for the opponent as possible. I kind of think the Nuggets are going to be willing to let them make it difficult on them this time around because they already got one.
I'll say this. I heard you and Matt Moore on Locked On Nuggets, and you guys suggested a change with and maybe starting Caruso. Mm-hmm. I'll say this. I don't think the Thunder have any reason to adjust. They were leading the game for most of the game.
Fair enough.
They had,
the reason why I brought it up was because they did start the second half with Caruso out there.
They did. Somebody
noted to me, and actually it was noted to be 26 different times, that it was because Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein each had 3 fouls.
That's right.
But is that entirely enough of a reason to do that? I don't even know. Because here's the plus minus numbers, I think, reflect it. In the 12 minutes that those guys played together on the floor, OKC was a minus 14.
Yeah.
They were a plus 12 in all of the rest of the minutes. And
that's pretty tough.
One of Chet on the floor was actually net neutral by himself. Isaiah Hartenstein on the floor by himself was actually very positive. I think a lot of that was the non-Jokic minutes as well. So there's some factors there. But
he was out there in the how many minutes did Jokic sit? It was a bit. Did he play third?
I think he played 6. He missed 6 minutes, I want to say. So I think he played about 42, somewhere in that range.
So that is a gaudy plus minus for 6 minutes.
Sure,
sitting out. And that's where the Nuggets have some deficits. Is that, as we know, their bench isn't tremendous.
Yeah.
And Mike wasn't hitting any shots. Obviously we don't know about his injury status with that.
I think we know he's clearly very hurt.
Well, yeah, he's very hurt. But what I mean is, we don't know.
Injured.
We don't know how the treatment was working.
Yeah.
In game 1.
Yeah.
So, look at it this way: Mike could have a big night.
Well, he also in the first game against the Clippers had 3 points on 4 shots in that game.
Yep.
And then didn't close that game. The Nuggets still found a way to win.
And they had 17 game 2.
Exactly. So there is a precedent for him to be able to turn it around, and it may not even have to do much with the shoulder. So we'll see what happens. I think we've got a couple of clips that we want to share. Our friend Katie Wingy over at Altitude had got these from Jamal Murray when she talked to him at practice yesterday. Take a listen to Jamal Murray about the Nuggets and the Thunder.
I remember when I was watching Miami and LeBron and Dwayne Wade and all those guys teamed up, and everybody was like, "Oh, they're winning," and then they lose the first year. It's like, yeah, it takes time. It takes time to create that gel, and we've thankful to have played with all these guys, most of these guys on the team, and coaches, to build chemistry from the start. As a young kid to a dad now, to have that kind of chemistry and build that kind of relationship with all these guys down the line, I think it's super important because you don't just, now you're playing with not just the player but the person, so you get to read the person, the mood he's in, or what he's feeling, or how he's going to react to certain criticism, or what he's thinking after a missed shot, or what he's thinking after a made shot, and how you need to refocus him, or whoever. And this is whoever it is. So I think just having that kind of personal relationship, I think, is super underrated and has given us a lot of experience to win certain games after year. So
always interesting to hear Jamal's perspective on chemistry on the team. He is, of course, one of the team leaders, one of the guys that they rely upon in these moments, and also has been around for a very long time. So I think that it's going to play a big factor. We'll see whether Denver can stick with it in this game tonight. But, Jeff, I think we got to do it. I think we got to go because it looks like this game is about to tip off.
It is. Well, see you all later. And was this a Go Nuggets moment?
I guess we could say Go Nuggets. We could say Go Nuggets at this point. But, hey, going to be interesting. Thank you for tuning in to the pregame show here for Mile High Sports. Come on down to number 38. If not now, then on Friday or on Sunday, we will be here doing our thing, and very excited to be doing this consistently for as long as the Nuggets stay attached. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the game.